I want to preference this by saying that all of this is just a fun thought experiment. None of us should be taking too seriously the timeline of events between a jacked up gorilla with a banana fetish and a pair of Italian plumbers with a shroom addiction. But there's enough evidence out there we can probably throw something together. This all started because of Donkey Kong Bananza. It looks to be a promising game for the Switch too. It's got destructible environments, skill trees, character customization, and Pauline pops out of a rock and teams up with you. Also, she's younger for some reason. What the fuck? Is this game a prequel? Yes? Maybe? Technically? I don't know. So let's just start from the beginning and work our way down. Okay, so let's get one thing out of the way right now. At best, Mario and Donkey Kong have a loose continuity. Like, looser than a Mardi Gras horror to freak off. That being said, we might be able to pull this off if we just follow a few simple rules. No RPGs. All those might as well be alternate universes. They're just too weird to fit into all of this. The main platformers are canon, and basically anything that happens in these games count. The main canon takes place here. Spin-offs. They are open to interpretation. I'm going to treat those games as alternate timelines unless they can fit in and make sense. Donkey Kong Jr. is current Donkey Kong. This is my headcanon. If you don't believe so, that's fine. I just think it's cool. If we follow these rules, our timeline will be more focused. Speaking of which, this game will be our starting point and this game will be our end point. Alright, now let's just pull it all together, step by step. Yoshi's Island. This is the earliest point in the timeline. In this game, you control a group of Yoshis as they travel across the island to rescue Baby Luigi from Kamek and Baby Bowser, while also protecting Baby Mario along the way. It's a neat platformer with tons of charm and some extremely impressive effects for its era thanks to the Super FX chip. So, why is it canon? Well, besides Mario Brothers and Bowser's being babies, this pretty much solidifies Yoshi as a character and not just a power-up. Egg tossing, eating enemies to make eggs, the ground pound, the flutter jump, and all the funky Yoshi colors beyond the 4 and Mario world make their debut here. As for the game itself, it's pretty damn fun. Each level has its own gimmick, like all the Shy Guys are on stilts or chain chomps coming at you from the foreground, and recreational drugs. Dang, I wish I had more time to play this one, but we have more games to cover. Next up is the Donkey Kong Country series, and it's where we're getting the bulk of our DK lore. The games introduce us to the whole Kong family, Donkey Kong, Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, etc. And these titles are going up against King K. Rool and the Kremling crew. They're a group of reptilian enemies that have come to steal Donkey Kong's banana hoard. And they somehow set up a factory on the island too at some point. Some people say that the Kremling crew was behind the mining operation going on DK Island, but I couldn't really find a consensus on the thing one way or another, so It's a platformer with a very unique look for the time. All the sprites and environments are pre-rendered from early CGI workstations. It's trying to do a 3D effect on 16-bit hardware, just like Yoshi's Island, but in a different approach. You know the deal, beat all the levels across different worlds of different environments, and within these stages are hidden bonus games and side objectives like the famous Kong letters and the 3 gold animal tokens. Grabbing 3 of the same unlocks another bonus level where you get to play as an animal buddy. These guys as the Yoshi of the DK series. In the first game, you have Rambi the Rhino, Espresso the Ostrich, Winky the Frog, Ungard the Swordfish, and Squawks the Parrot, who only shows up in about 2 levels or so. Use these guys to help you make it to the boss at the end of each world, which is usually a large version of the regular enemies, except for K. Rool. He's a bit different. Beat him and you win the game. The second game has you rescuing Donkey Kong as Diddy with his new girlfriend, Dixie Kong. The game takes place on Kremling's home turf, starting from the very ship the last game ended on. And it's essentially more of the same with some new animal buddies, collectibles, and challenges thrown in. So what makes these games canon? Cranky, Diddy, and Dixie appear in Bananza alongside Rambi. Both games had to have happened prior to Bananza. Speaking of which, Donkey Kong Bananza. It goes here and is canon. The game isn't out yet, so we really don't have much to go on other than what we saw in the Direct. Mario Brothers is the original arcade game that gave us the first appearance of Luigi himself. You just clear out enemies in the level to advance to the next one. You can do this solo or team up with another player to get the job done. Or you could compete against each other for a high score. That's valid too. Super Mario Brothers. Do I really need to explain Super Mario Brothers? No, I didn't think so. It's the foundation of everything Mario going forward. Alrighty, so what did I leave out so far? Yoshi's Island DS is a sequel to Yoshi's Island, and it plays similar to the original, but it involves infant versions of DK, Peach, Wario, and the Mario Brothers. If DK is fully grown in Bananza, but Pauline looks to be at least 12 or 13, that would mean that the brothers would be around her age this time too, so yeah, no, non-canon. Yoshi's New Island technically takes place between the SNES original and Yoshi's Island DS. This game is stupid as hell. So, the stork delivers the brothers to the wrong house, then he gets jumped by Kamek again while trying to take them to their actual parents. So, Kamek then tries to take the brothers back to his castle, but he fucks up and drops baby Mario on another island that's not the one from before, but also has a bunch of Yoshis on it. There's also some time travel thrown in too, like, how's this shit supposed to fit in after the first game? In fact, the entire Yoshi series doesn't fit at all after the first game, so pretty much all their games, you could just fit those on an alternate timeline. Donkey Kong Country 3 doesn't really matter. Nothing about it shows up or gets referenced in future games, so it can fit, but taking it out would hurt absolutely nothing. The arcade version of Donkey Kong Jr., and Donkey Kong 3. If Donkey Kong and Pauline are friends, why would Mario need to rescue her? Mario has been consistently portrayed as a good guy, except for that one time in Mario Power Tennis. So, this doesn't fit at all. DK Jr. doesn't work because Jr. can't be younger than Mario if he's older and hanging out with a younger Pauline. And lastly, nobody gives a fuck about Stanley the Bugman, and neither does Nintendo. Alright, time for some more canon games. Mario 2. This one is hard because even if you ignore the fact that it technically isn't a Mario game, it's a reskin of Doki Doki Panic. You also have to acknowledge the fact that the whole thing is a dream, but you also can't ignore all the things that it added to the series. Luigi's unique jump, Peach's floating, Shy Guys, the first time Toad became a playable character. I think I'll make 2 canon just because in dreams you can have actual elements of your real life in them. Mario 3 is a major part of the timeline. Mario 3 just adds so much more than everything that came before it, it's not even funny. Super Leaf, Tanuki Suit, Hammer Suit, Boos, Chain Chomps, Toad Houses, Dry Bones, the 7 Koopalings, each of these motherfuckers debuted here. Mario 3 is a bona fide classic, no doubt about it, but there's things in it that even I didn't know about. The whole game doesn't take place in the Mushroom Kingdom. Instead, it takes place in the Mushroom World, which the kingdom acts as a gateway to. This would explain all the random-ass kings that show up at the end of each world. They never show back up, but it won't be the last time you go outside the Mushroom Kingdom. Super Mario Land. This is one of the weirdest Mario games ever made. So, right off the bat, we're not in the Mushroom Kingdom or Mushroom World. We're in Sarasa Land, which is split off into 4 separate areas. Birabuto, which is based off of ancient Egypt, Muda, which is based off of Bermuda, Easton, which is based off of Easter Island, and Chai, which is based off of Chinese mythology. The ruler of Sarasa Land is Daisy, and she gets abducted by Tatanga, a literal alien. Are y'all following along so far? Things get weirder from here. Hardly any of the enemies you face in this game are from previous games. You mostly have a bunch of mutations of some classic enemies and a bunch of freaks that never appeared anywhere else in the Mario series. The item variety is limited in this game. All you have are the super and 1-up mushrooms and a new flower called the Super Ball Flower. I don't know if this shit is lame or not. I mean, it's cool that you can hit a bunch of enemies at some off angles, but I think I would rather have a fire flower instead. I guess Nintendo felt that way too because it never returned outside of this game, and neither did Mario Submarine or Plane. This bums me the hell out because I think current Nintendo could do some fun-ass shooter levels with these vehicles. The final battle against Tatanga takes place in the sky with Mario pitting his plane against his ship. Anyway, Mario Land is canon because of Daisy. Super Mario World. Despite the size of this game and its legacy, Mario World doesn't add much to the canon. Yoshis and Magic Koopas have already been established in Yoshi's Island, and outside of a handful of enemies, nothing new is added that isn't a major part of the canon. Well, there is the Koopa Clown Car, which I am a big fan of. Yeah, as much as I dearly love this game, it really doesn't add much to the overall lore. Though it does have one of the most direct connections to a previous game than any other in this series. The Sunken Ghost Ship is a straight up destroyed airship from Mario 3. Maybe Bowser's minions crashed here and used it as a base until they got the valley up and running. Anyway, it doesn't get more canon than that. Okay, let's see what we left out now. Super Mario Kart. It would have been fine if not for the fact that it's DK Jr. participating and not regular Donkey Kong, so it's non-canon. Mario Land 2. Okay, this game is much better than Mario Land 1 across the board. It's better and it's just as weird. There are little things that happen here that never appear in featured titles like Bunny Mario, ringing a bell at the end of the level, and the Fire Flower giving Mario a feather as opposed to the red and white overall combo. I think the most egregious thing of all is that Mario owns a castle on an island that he also owns. Like, what about Luigi? Anyway, the biggest addition to this game is the first appearance of Wario, who would go on to have his own spin-off series. That's cool and all, but it makes it non-canon as none of this stuff gets referenced in later games. Wario is playable in Mario 64 DS, but that too is non-canon, and I'll explain why. Mario 64/DS. I'm not explaining Mario 64, it's like explaining The Lion King. You know what it is, and you know it's a massive touchstone for the respective companies. This game becomes the aesthetic for Mario this entire generation. It also became the foundation on which every Mario was built on in terms of movement and gameplay structure. This game is canon. As for 64DS is weird because the letter at the beginning of the game is still addressed to Mario even though Wario and Luigi are there too. Either Peach is just rude, or Luigi and Wario just invited themselves, which is in character for Wario, but not Luigi. This shit's non-canon. Donkey Kong 64. Donkey Kong 64 isn't a bad game. It's a 7 out of 10 that should have been a 9 out of 10 that people think is a 4 out of 10. There's way too much shit to collect. I get it. Also, some of the challenges are not well designed and are a chore to restart, as some of them have long elaborate animations each time you start one. It does introduce an arsenal of weapons for the Kongs to use. Diddy's rocket barrels end up becoming part of his moveset later on, so this game is canon. What did we leave off this time? Every spin-off, Mario Kart, Mario Golf, Tennis, and Party aren't canon because Wario technically doesn't exist.
Oh my god!
Let's keep things going with another set of canon games. Luigi's Mansion. Didn't expect to see this one here, huh? Luigi's Mansion seems so far removed from the main canon, except for the fact that this man debuted here, Professor Egad. This guy has tons of awesome and important inventions like the Poltergust series of ghost capturing vacuums. It's pretty much the only reason Luigi was able to beat King Boo and rescue his brother from the mansion. Which leads us to Super Mario Sunshine. Mario accompanies Peach and her assistant Toadsworth on a vacation to Isle Delfino. When they arrive, shit gets crazy, and Mario has to fight a piranha plant made of goop. Everybody sees this guy do it, who is Mario-shaped, but he looks like one of those invisible action figures made out of translucent colored plastic. So, the locals do the logical thing and arrest a man who is clearly made of flesh. This shit always pissed me off as a kid, like, dude. So, you are forced to clean up the whole island while also clearing your name, but you won't be doing it alone because you'll have Flood to help you out. This one is another EGAD invention, and it's basically a robot with a water tank attached to it that can use different attachments that all use water in various ways. And it is here that we hit a major snag. So, when you meet Flood for the first time, it scans Mario to register itself to him, and we see flashes of different games across Mario's history, which is a pretty neat Easter egg, but if you notice, there's a bunch of funky writing all around the screen, and somehow, someway, they figured out a way to enhance the writing that's on the bottom right corner of the screen. And when they did enhance it, you can clearly see a list of different Mario games. Games that we called non-canon, like Mario Kart and Mario Kart 64. Two games we kicked out because of Donkey Kong Jr. and Wario.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, bro. So that means that if these games happened canon-wise, then that also means those other games happened too. Donkey Kong and Donkey Kong Jr. happened, even though the timing and relationship to Pauline makes no fucking sense. That means that Super Mario Kart happened because Jr. is there. Mario Land 2 happened because Wario exists, and Wario's in Mario Kart 64. And all the N64 spin-offs, this shit is impossible. To be fair, I thought that my biggest obstacle would be making Donkey Kong fit into the timeline, but I would never imagine that Sunshine, of all games, would break this shit apart. I don't know what to do. I guess I can just show you guys what I was thinking of before my whole timeline got derailed. Yeah, so after Sunshine, New Super Mario Bros., then straight to Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. After that, we would have New Super Mario Bros. Wii and Donkey Kong Country Returns, New Super Mario 2, Super Mario Deluxe, and Tropical Freeze would come afterward in whatever order because it doesn't matter. And finally, we leave off with 3D World, Bowser's Fury, Odyssey, and Mario Wonder as the farthest point in the timeline. You know, even if Sunshine didn't nuke my timeline, a lot of the games in the back half would end up being inconsequential. Like, yeah, some of the games obviously happened later, but there's not enough in those games to really tell you where they would be 100% definitively. Even if you add in the spin-offs, you still have only a rough idea of where it would take place. I think we have a Zelda situation on our hands where the games were never created with a timeline in mind. The only reason Zelda works with one is because there's enough connected tissue between the games as you look for it. Mario and Donkey Kong have no such thing, and I think that's just fine. In any case, I'm hyped for Bananza regardless of whatever lore implications it may or may not have. But if this motherfucker shows up in Bananza, I am going to lose my shit. Yeah, man, so I've been playing Bananza since launch, and I ran into Cranky eventually, and he's just dropping all sorts of lore, and it's making this shit even more confusing than it already was. I don't even know, man. This video is probably a fucking waste.